to prep.
For what? Doomsday?
Shit, I thought you knew. This next topic comes to us from an article I found.
Okay.
On one of our Google notifications of how to prep for an escape room, how to sit down and really prepare. Next, we did a video.
We've seen so many articles, and we've even covered like little bits of this before.
A little bit, yes. We covered a video that outlined 10 steps to beat every escape room.
Right.
And that video, a year later now, has like millions and millions of views. It blew up. Yeah, no, so like everyone's using that to like try to solve escape rooms now. But I thought maybe
it blew up.
It blew the hell up because now the escape room boom and everyone's like, how do I beat this thing? And this guy's like, I got you guys, come on in. But what I have here, I've written down. It's only 4 steps from the article of how to prep for an escape room. I thought it'd be fun if we talked about a few of these steps and
Sure,
see.
let's hit it.
Yeah. So step 1, assemble a team. Yes, this is the direction this article went. It's 100% the direction. That's why I love these articles. They're the best because you get to step 1 and it's just like, well, no shit. So, what do you think about this first step, Tony? You think it's a solid first step? Should you assemble a team or should you raw dog an escape room all by yourself?
All right, so let's speak a little bit more to what they're actually trying to portray here. They're not saying first step, find players.
Avengers assemble.
Yeah, almost more akin to that. They're saying you need to select a team that's going to be able to actually do the job.
Mm-hmm.
So you need to assemble the Avengers. You're not just putting together a team of random Joe Schmoes or Jane Schmoes, but you're really assembling the Justice League of escape room players out of your list of contacts. So if you're playing a win, you're going to be a little more particular about who you take on this adventure because some people are going to be dead weight. And like, for example, if I'm assembling an escape room team, I know that Parada is going to knock into every single thing within the room and probably damage something, see? Because he's a total spaz. But
I'll have you know, hang on, no, I'm going to interject there. I'll have you know that I beat F5 with like 3 other idiots with like 27 minutes left on the clock, and we only used 1 hint, alright?
F5 was also our easiest game built for kids. But anyway, F5 really was an easy game.
You can't see it, but I'm walking out.
But, I'm not going to bring our head of online experience, Connor, because Connor is crazily OCD, which is great for his position here at Trapdoor, but it means that he's going to grasp onto one puzzle, and if he doesn't figure it out, he is not going to let go. He's going to be a dog with a bone, and he's going to kill 50 minutes on one puzzle. Frank used to do that too.
Oh god, I've seen so much of it happen here in Cure Z too.
Frank would sit there and just not let go of a train of thought. And it'd be like, dude, it's been 5 minutes, you didn't get it, let's move on to something else, we'll come back with fresh eyes. No, gotta focus on this. It's like, okay, we're not gonna get anywhere like this. You've gotta, that's what assemble a team means. It's really more about selecting who's going to play what role. And not everyone should have the same attributes either. Just like when we build our teams here at Trapdoor as a company, you want to have people in there that make up for what you lack.
Yes.
So, cover all bases. You need somebody who's great with pattern recognition. You need somebody maybe who's good with mathematics, because annoyingly there's always puzzles that involve mathematics in a lot of escape rooms. We use them too from time to time if it fits the story.
Only from time to time.
You're going to want somebody who's just incredibly good street smart logic. I always go back to the one trick that a former member of our team, John, used to, not used to always, but he had, said when we were playing a game at a competitor's place one time, he solves this one puzzle. We're like, John, how the hell did you solve that? And he goes, they had a camera aimed right on the spot. It had to be important. And
Shit.
It was like, the logic was incredibly on point, though. Like, how could you argue that? As as someone who has built games, you know that we put cameras where we need to see important things.
Especially in our bigger games as well.
I mean, you never know if something's going to malfunction and not trigger automatically the way it's programmed. So you need to be able to see it to hit the backup button. For whatever reason, you need to make sure that important things do what they're supposed to do. So odds are you have a camera trained on that position. So he noticed that there was a camera like dead on aimed at this one table where he was working. So it had to be an important puzzle.
From Viva Todd Vegas, I'm going to go ahead and get my beautiful face back on here. What's up, Todd? Good to see you. I didn't get to talk to you last week. Oh, he's got his own steps for how to prepare for an escape room. He's sending them in right now.
All right, well let's continue onward with the list of who we're covering, and then we'll go to Todd's.
I like.
And if anyone
already.
else has a list, throw it on either the Facebook chat or the YouTube chat, and we would love to get to it.
Oh yeah, because I want to know what the process is for everybody. Because I know it's good at the end of the day. It's different for everyone.
I am very anxious to hear tips and tricks from everyone today, so let's do it.
So step 2, choose your first room.
All right, now go screw yourself. I defended you on step 1. Now we're done.
Well, here, let me go ahead and explain their logic. The logic of the article that I found. There are several different themes for rooms.
Connor goes, push. You've never seen me play an escape room.
Connor, have you ever actually played an escape room?
No, Connor has played games before. But Connor, I've worked with you. I absolutely love Connor to death, but he 100% is a dog with a bone mentality. He gets locked onto things. And, I would almost say it's a mix of ODD and ADD.
ODD?
OCD and ADD. But I call Connor's version ADA. He has an attention deficit advantage.
Oh, because he's so, locked on to everything, it gives him an advantage.
And but and then there's the element of he kind of needs focus breaks, which works to the Morristown location's advantage, because then he labels the faucets in the bathroom so that everyone knows which one's hot and cold. No, you joke, but this is actually important in Morristown because the plumbing is really weird, and they're on the reverse side, so everyone always turns on the hot, the side that should be hot, and they wait and they wait and they wait, but they're actually on cold, and Connor took initiative and labeled them, so now you know.
I feel like that's more Connor giving away more hints. Come on, man, we're in an escape room. They got to figure it out themselves.
No, but there's a difference between what works in a work environment and what works when you're playing an escape room.
Oh yeah, for sure. So actually, elaborating more on step 2, which is Glomicus. Elaborating more on step 2, which is choose your first room. There are a lot of different sub-genres, I guess, of escape room, where you have fantasy, you have adventure, and then you have the ever-growing popular horror escape room. This article says that for your first escape room, you should steer clear of a scary escape room, because fear kind of negates the ability to think clearly. And I would like to hear your topic on that, considering we have a very scary escape room up in Red Bank.
We have been reviewed as the scariest escape room ever created with Boogeyman. Now, I personally would say that that title, although honored to have been called it by one or two different prestigious review sites, there are other locations and other companies that I've heard are terrifying. Like, for example, if anyone's heard of it, Lilith is it was a game that came out a little while back that apparently was absolutely terrifying. And I love the story because it was made by a dad and his daughter, I believe, and the dad plays almost this Leatherface-esque serial killer in the house who killed the little girl.
Oh, shit.
And his daughter plays the ghost of the little girl.
Oh, that's really cool, actually.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. So for me, as as everyone's favorite dad, shout out to Samantha and I don't know how Mike DiLorenzo would feel about me saying everyone's favorite mom, but for anyone who doesn't spend a lot of time at Trapdoor, I am Dad and Mike DiLorenzo is Mom at
and
Trapdoor.
when Mom and Dad fight, we all hide.
And Chris Schwartz is Uncle Chris.
Uncle Chris, can we go out for lunch?
Yeah. Yeah. Especially the girls. 100% go after Uncle Chris with that one. Uncle Chris, can we have lobster mac and cheese today? And Uncle Chris delivers every time.
I think the first day I met Chris, he's like, "Hey man, you hungry? I'm ordering some Chef Freddy's."
Yeah, and anyone who doesn't know, Chef Freddy's in Morristown is like $200 a plate.
Jesus.
But good octopus salad though. But anyway, I would, as a dad, I would love to, build a game around me and Liv. I think that would be really fun and cool, down the road, a few years down the road. But
how do you feel about the avoiding a scary escape room as your first escape room?
Thanks for pulling us back on target. Yeah, probably. I mean, it's kind of known at this point that when people play a horror game, if they're susceptible to fear, then they're probably going to be a doorstop.
Yeah, because in our game Boogeyman, we are not afraid to kind of go above and beyond. I mean, obviously, we're not putting anyone in harm's way, but we'll drag you out from under a bed.
Definitely not to derail topics, but especially as Boogeyman is coming into its final season. Here's a topic I would love to do next week. It versus Boogeyman.
It versus Boogeyman.
I just watched It Chapter 2.
Oh, I haven't seen that yet.
And I saw Chapter 1 and there were parallels, but after seeing Chapter 2, I was like, oh my god, Boogeyman and It are almost the same story.
I'm absolutely down to talk more about that. I'm going to do
So
some
yeah,
research
I
on
would
it.
love to do a compare and contrast segment on Boogeyman and It Chapter 1, Chapter 2.
Yeah, because it kind of has the same premise where they're stealing kids, or they're haunting
There's
kids
a
throughout
lot
their life.
more in comparison than that.
I have to look up more of the
From
the It
needing
lore.
the totems of the children in order to defeat Pennywise. A lot of comparisons are there.
I didn't even think about the totems because that's a big deal in Boogeyman without giving away any spoilers. But with that, let's go ahead and look at step 3. So step 3, and this is probably the one that I agree with the most. Listen to the backstory. We encounter. I'm back. Hey, what's up? It's me. I'm beautiful.
Mike is back.
I'm beautiful, and I know you guys just wanted to see me. And while I work on tone, I'm going to go ahead and tell you more about why this is important. We
Still
see
gotta
this.
click yourself live though.
I do need to click myself live. I keep forgetting that's a thing. Very important thing, in especially in Cure Z, is that before your game starts, after your rules and stuff, you get your mission briefing. Someone will come onto the TV and kind of set the general overall tone for the story.
Right.
And as soon
Overall tone.
Yeah, I thought of it. It was after I I thought of it. He's pointing at it's the overall tone, the overtone, because it's overtone.
Ha ha ha!
You like what I did to your joke?
Yeah.
It's what everyone does to mine. So it's as soon as they finish the 5, 4, 3, 2, 1 after the rule segment, all listening to videos and stories kind of goes out the window, and people are diving immediately into looking around the room, scavenging for what they can find.
Well, the interesting part of that, though, is that almost showcases demographic shifts. Because back even 2 years ago, everyone used to actually pay attention. Everyone used to watch the briefing videos in full and listen intently because they were there for the whole experience. They wanted the full story. And now you have groups that are coming in with almost like theme park ride mentality and just diving in.
Yeah, they don't even want to wait for because there's a bunch of stuff that happens in these intro videos. I'm not going to say that it happens always in our intro videos specifically, but for a lot of other games, there are things that happen within these intro videos that are a precursor to something you might need later on in the game.
Yep.
Sometimes there's a hint in there, and then other times it's just kind of like you're going through this game, and I hear this a lot. People just kind of look up and it's like, hey, what are we doing? Why
Yep.
are we doing this? Like, what's the deal? And it's just like, well, if you had listened to the story beforehand, you'd have more of an idea.
Yeah, I mean, there's an argument for that scenario. We experimented with something in Freak Show, and the jury's still out on whether or not it worked. But instead of opening the show with a full-scale briefing, we give you about 10% of the mission in the opening of the game.
Mm.
And then halfway through, one of the puzzles you solve kind of gives you the conflict of, what exactly happened. And then a few puzzles later, when you save the bearded lady, after her performance, she then tells you what you need to do. So you don't really know what you need to do until 3/4 into the Freak Show experience.
If you ask me, I think that's actually a solid way to go about it, because kind of like with the attention, like the demographic shift and the lack of an attention span, I feel like when they're into the game, they're just getting started.
Especially with a 2-hour experience, there's that element of, can you deliver it at the beginning and expect them to carry it for 2 hours? Like in Cure Z, how many of them lose track of what they're doing?
That's
versus
right.
with Freak Show, we're giving them a little snippet, a little more, and then boom, we're driving it home at the end.
Something to keep a note of for our future games.
So at that point, you've got like a half hour left in the game to retain the knowledge of what are you doing, what is the main objective. And I can't tell you how many times people still lose track of the objective within that half hour.
Well, I mean, to be fair to the players, Freak Show as a game, as well as Cure Z, I think the size of those games gets to be pretty intimidating. They get lost in everything going on around them, which is, you could say, just another challenge of an escape room in general. But still, those games have so much going on that I can imagine it can be hard to stay focused.
And the harder part too is that you can't, unlike a ride, like for example, Galaxy's Edge, or Rise of the Resistance at the Star Wars land, you can't literally lock someone into a cinematic moment in an escape room. Like the best example being the bearded lady. You find the bearded lady who's locked up in a cage in the fairgrounds. You sing her headline song back to her to awaken her from, the state of slumber she's in, and she belts out the song, and then because now she's, reignited, she tells you exactly what she needs you to do in order to save Zunder's Freak Show. And a lot of times people leave right after she finishes the song.
Like with no thought process at all, like, what do you think of what she was talking about? Or maybe that song was important.
Yeah, she'll finish the song and she'll be like, thank you, you've saved me, blah, 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 blah. And people are walking away with the thank you, you saved me call to action moment. It's like you just sat through 2 minutes of her song, but you're leaving for the important part?
Sad. Just to kind of keep us going along here, so that we don't run out of time. Very important step was to listen to the backstory. I'm glad I got the tone and seal of approval on that one. And that will take us on to our last step of the how to prep for an escape room. The last step is arguably the most important step. This is the step that defines whether or not you win or lose an escape room.
I have a feeling this is going to be a joke.
Step 4. Enjoy the game. That is, I wish I was joking. That's actually like step 4, enjoy the game. And I get it, because if you go in there with a bad attitude, you're going to have a bad time. But
Moving on to Viva Todd Vegas.
Moving on to Viva Todd Vegas, who came in with his own steps for how to prep for an escape room. Step 1 from Viva Todd Vegas. Actually read the website of the place you're visiting.
Yes. No, that's valid. A lot of people, we've talked about this before. My absolute favorite is the customer that books and then they get there and they're like, so what are we doing? Oh, voicemail message.
Voicemail message.
Yeah, like what are we doing here today? It's like, well, you just spent $800 to privatize Freak Show.
Mm-hmm.
And you don't even know you're here for Freak Show.
They have no clue.
No clue at all. What do you do with that? What do you even do with that? So yes, 100%, Todd, read the website of which you're booking.
Some websites are really intricate too, and my
Oh, no!
My camera died again! But it's okay, I'm back. Look at me. I'm so cute.
I have a feeling this is a RAM issue and not the stream.
I really hope so. Or rather, I don't hope so. I don't know anything about computers. I just work here.
Yeah, I know what to check on for this after the show.
But the second step from Viva Todd Vegas on how to prep an...
It's MLK Day. We're popular. Moving on.
And now, onto the mystery of the haunted answering machine. But step 2 from Viva Todd Vegas, stay sober.
You know... Uh-oh, I'm laggy.
You're a little bit laggy.
Yes and no, and I don't want to throw myself into a brick wall with this, but here's why I say yes and no. You really, in no way, shape, or form do you want to show up to an escape room drunk, but a glass of wine or a shot before heading in is not the end of the world because it makes people loosen up a little.
Kind of gets them more comfortable with the idea of being in an escape room.
Killing like one or two inhibitive qualities of yourself is not exactly a bad thing in these situations. So, depending upon your tolerance, a glass of wine, in my case, a martini, and with a jalapeno olive, or maybe just like one shot of tequila, and then head in. It just loosens you up just enough to have some fun.
And that's our slogan here at Trapdoor Escape Room. Do it with fun. Because if you're not doing it with fun, then what are you doing? Honestly.
And we hope you'll join us next time, 1 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. Subscribe to our YouTube channel if you haven't below. Like, comment, subscribe. And